How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today I want to talk about Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Which is better? Now, there's been a lot of takes on this over the past couple months ever since Better Call Saul came to an end, and I thought now, since it actually has been a few months since the finale of Better Call Saul, it would be a good time for me to make this video and kind of clear things up on whether or not I like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul more. But wait, what if they're actually equal? In this video, I kind of want to talk about that aspect to it, how I don't actually think they should be compared, but I'm going to compare them nonetheless because that's what I like to do. But I briefly want to mention, I kind of feel like they shouldn't really be compared to each other. I mean, they go hand in hand with each other to a degree, and they kind of should be equal to each other. And I think when people compare them, it makes it seem like they're against each other when obviously they're set in the same universe. And, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are friends. They make each other better, if that makes any sense. I mean, Better Call Saul made Breaking Bad better, and, without Breaking Bad, of course, we wouldn't have Better Call Saul, and they're equals to a degree, but I do kind of want to make that point briefly just so people understand that, I love both of these shows, by the way. I will decide in this video which one I like more. I'll be honest with you guys, but I still love both of these shows so much, so I want to make that apparent before we get into the things I like about each show and kind of go over, I guess, the pros and cons of the shows, but realistically, there's not going to be any cons because these series are perfect. So, yeah. But anyway, in terms of which one I like more, if I had to pick, gun to my head, which one do I like more, it's Breaking Bad for me. I'm sorry, but I do like Breaking Bad. I don't know if that's really a hot take. I mean, I think either way, people would accept your answer, but I have seen quite a few people, especially on Twitter, which again is the main social media site I use, link in the description, but I have seen a lot of people on Twitter say that they actually prefer Better Call Saul over Breaking Bad, and I can understand both ways, to be honest. I think there's better aspects in Better Call Saul that are executed better than they are in Breaking Bad. And I know there's that meme where it's like, which is better? Well, better is in Better Call Saul and bad is in Breaking Bad, so Better Call Saul is better. It's kind of funny. It's a little clever. All right, you win. It's a little clever. But I love that meme. But I have seen a lot of people say Better Call Saul is a better show, and in my opinion, I can see either way, but I still prefer Breaking Bad over Better Call Saul. And honestly, does it come down to nostalgia a little bit? Because I saw this show, Breaking Bad, for the first time quite a few years ago. I never watched it live because I was a bit too young when it was going on, and I watched it later, but very shortly after it ended, I think I caught up with the show. And so maybe 2014, I saw it for the first time. And, I have a little bit of nostalgia for it. I just love Breaking Bad so much. I love the characters. I love the vibe. And the fact that this show was actually made in 2008 makes it feel like it has a bit more nostalgic element, if that makes any sense. And it's got a more nostalgic feel to it because obviously Better Call Saul started in 2015. So I think that's something kind of interesting to bring up, that, obviously they were made in very different times, and Breaking Bad is, set in 2008. It came out in 2008, and it definitely has a different vibe to Better Call Saul, and the shows have a very distinct tone and a very distinct vibe about them overall, which I think is something to note as well. But I do like Breaking Bad. Maybe it's out of nostalgia, I don't know. But we're also going to be talking about some other things, why I like Breaking Bad more than Better Call Saul. And I would say that it just has better characters. I mean, you have Walt and Jesse, and don't get me wrong, Better Call Saul has great characters too, of course. You have Kim, Howard, Chuck, all these new characters that were introduced anyway. But it is missing Walt and Jesse. I mean, obviously they make an appearance in the final season, but Walt and Jesse are they're dynamic. They're a dynamic duo. I love them so much. They just mean so much to me. And I think Walt is just a better character than Jimmy, in my opinion. But again, that's not to say that Jimmy is a bad character. I mean, anything you say about one of these shows can basically be applied to the other. And that's kind of why I mentioned at the beginning of this video that these shows really shouldn't be compared, and they go hand in hand. But, comparing things is what we do as humans, I guess. But I love the dynamic duo of Walt and Jesse just a bit more than, let's say, Jimmy and Kim. But I think Walt is a bit more interesting in terms of what he stands for and what he does in Breaking Bad. I mean, he starts off as a loser and becomes a badass. And honestly, that's just relatable as hell. Because, I'm a loser. And I often wish that I could be a badass. And I kind of just relate to that mentality and that kind of character arc a bit more than Jimmy, who is kind of, he does some bad things, but he kind of has a good heart. And, along the way, he just gets deeper and deeper and deeper into this life of crime. But and there definitely are parallels between Walt and Saul for sure. But I think Walt's character arc is a bit more interesting in my opinion. But Jimmy's is very interesting as well. And that's one thing that you could say about these shows. They're similar, but are distinctly different in many ways. They both have great cinematography. Arguably, I actually would say if I had to give a point to Better Call Saul, the cinematography in Better Call Saul is better. I would say that. I mean, because Better Call Saul came out after Breaking Bad, you can tell that the camera crew and just everyone involved working on the series, they have more time to kind of hone their craft, and it's really good in terms of the cinematography and just absolutely beautiful shots, beautiful camera work throughout the show, and it's amazing. But one thing I will say that Breaking Bad does better is have a better soundtrack in terms of the songs they play. Now, this might seem like a nitpick to some people in terms of just little songs. Who cares about songs? But don't get me wrong, Better Call Saul plays some good tunes every once in a while, but I think Breaking Bad has way more memorable songs that they play. I mean, you have DLZ, by TV on the Radio, I think, and that plays in season 2, episode 10. At the end of that episode, when Walt's like, "Stay out of my territory," and that song is just a banger. Might actually be my favorite song of all time. I don't know. And then obviously you have the ending song, "My Baby Blue." I think it's just called "Baby Blue." I don't know. I'd have to look, but it's just it's a great song, and I think Breaking Bad just has better songs, to be honest. And I know that's kind of like a nitpick and something that not many people would care about. But to me, I love songs. I love music. And hey, I just got to bring it up. But Better Call Saul still does play some good stuff. And, these two shows are just great overall. I don't really have, again, there's not many negatives with these shows at all. I mean, I did a ranking video for all the episodes for both series. And I discussed kind of that there were some weaker episodes here and there. But overall, these shows are perfect, and I would still say Breaking Bad's better. I like Walt more as a character. I think the story overall is a bit more interesting, and the pacing as well is something to note for sure. I think the pacing in Better Call Saul is much slower, and that's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but Breaking Bad's pacing is a lot more fast-paced at moments and yada, yada, yada. It's just a very different story structure overall, but I love both of these shows to death, and I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down in the comments below, so please let me know. But yeah, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, let me hear all your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.